There is a fallacy that is made a lot on the internet. I don't want to mention examples because I don't want to get off topic and have the comments veer off in other controversial territory. But you'll recognize the fallacy when I explain it to you. The fallacy is called the fallacy of relative privation. It goes like this. Someone complains about something or says they're against something. We'll call it A, because in philosophy you can just replace things with variables like that. Just call it A. It's A. A is anything that is of this category of bad stuff. Someone else comes and says you shouldn't complain about A or speak out against A or be against A because there's some other B, and B is way worse. And since B is way worse, you shouldn't worry about A or do anything against A or be at all worried about A because B is so bad in comparison. That is the fallacy of relative privation. It is a subset of a red herring fallacy. It is a type of red herring fallacy. The red herring fallacy is when you, as a counter argument, you bring up some information which seems relevant, which seems to counter the initial argument, but doesn't. It's completely irrelevant. It just seems relevant. Because the thing is the badness of A isn't made less bad because there's a B which is way worse. So, I said I wasn't going to go give examples because I didn't want to go off topic, but it's hard to explain these without examples. So feminists will complain about sexualization of women in media. That's the A here. And then someone else will reply, oh, you shouldn't complain about that at all because in some countries women aren't even allowed to drive. That's the B in this example. And I think we can all admit that B is worse. It is worse to be in a situation in which women can't drive than in a situation in which just there's sexy women on TV who aren't doing anything else but being attractive. Like, A is still bad because it, especially in my previous video about sexual objectification, pool babes are really objectifying of women because they treat women like an object that wealthy men buy. Like, wealthy men just buy with attractive women and have them walk around the pool. Like, the story doesn't say that they literally do that, but it like halfway implies it. But in these movies where you go to the rich guy's mansion and his pool is just nothing but pool babes everywhere. So that's bad. That's an A. And B, of course, is worse. The women not being able to drive, but A is still bad. So it's a fallacy because the premises don't follow from the conclusion. The premise is that someone says that A is bad, B is worse. That's the premise is that B is worse. And the conclusion is, therefore, A isn't bad at all because B is worse. That conclusion does not follow at all. It does not at all prove the opposite of A. It doesn't prove not A. It doesn't prove that A is not bad just because B is worse. Also, another reason why this is fallacy, bad thinking, let's follow the reason entirely. So, the fallacy of relative privation would say A is not bad because B is worse. Well, what if I could come up with a C that's even worser than B? So in C, some countries have genital mutilation, which is even worse than women not being able to drive. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to complain about women not being able to drive in some countries because I found something that's even worse. And if I can find some D that's even worse than A, B, and C, then you can't complain about female genital mutilation, sexual objectification, or women not being able to drive in some countries legally. So the point is, if you take the reasoning behind the fallacy of relative privation to its logical conclusion, then you can't really be for or against anything. You can't complain about anything. You can't support anything. Because you can always find something worse, something more serious to worry about. In fact, if you bring religion into it, you can get to the point where you really can't complain about anything, because anytime you complain about something, well, you could be in hell, which is even worse than all of that. And you couldn't even complain about being in hell, because there could be like a place in hell that's even worse than the place you're in right now. So it would really mean that you can't really be against anything or have any opinions, and when fall to its own conclusion, it just implodes on itself. And you don't want reasoning that implodes on itself. So therefore, the fallacy relative to privation is a problem. I'm doing this video because it's a fallacy that I hear all the time. A lot. Which I don't mean to pick on MRAs, like I did in my last video, or a few recent video, and this one here. It's just the anti-feminists are the group right now who make this fallacy a lot, all the time. And I'm not in any camps. I like to try to not be in any camps, because I want to be a skeptical, unbiased observer. But this skeptical, unbiased observer says that anti-feminists are making this fallacy a lot, all the time, constantly, every day. So that's it.